Hi, everybody. This is Women Empowerment Coach Rima Desai. I am so excited to bring you live today a very special lady from Bamenda, Cameroon in West Africa. She is a powerful social activist doing some amazing empowering work for needy women, uplifting their lives. And I just can go on and on. But in short, if I were to introduce her, I would say, she is living my dream. So, welcome, Christelle, to my site. Thank you for allowing me to interview you.
Yeah. Hi, Rima. Hi, everybody watching us right now.
Thank
Uh,
you. Can you,
Thank you so much for this very
yeah,
unique opportunity.
go ahead. Yeah, I want you to
Uh,
introduce yourself. I don't think I'll do enough justice. Please tell us more about you.
ah, Thank you very much, Rima, for this very unique opportunity. Like you already mentioned, I'm Christelle. I'm from the northwest region of Cameroon, and I'm a community activist. And my passion for the socioeconomic empowerment of women and girls moved me to create a non-governmental organization, Hope for the Needy Association,
Love it.
whose mission is to empower the most disadvantaged and susceptible youth and women and their communities to achieve lasting positive changes in their lives. I also happen to be a 2014 fellow of the Obama's Washington Fellowship for Young African Leaders.
How amazing. It's so interesting that how we got connected, it's the social media in today's world has such good uses if we put it to. Christelle somehow found me. I think she sent me a friend request and I asked her, do I know you or something of that sort? And we got connected and we share similar dreams and passions. And Christelle, you are living my dream. It's something that I've wanted to do, but I'm so proud to see there are women like you who are dedicating their lives to, in our life we get choices. We get choices to make about what we want to do with our life. And you've made such an amazing choice. Thank you for inspiring all of us and for being here.
Thank you very much, Rima. Actually, when I went through, as I was going through my page one day or something, I saw this woman saying a lot of transformational things that I know that the women I serve would love to hear. Those things that women in communities don't usually get to hear, but are very empowering. And with a keen look into it, I saw that it was Rima, and I asked myself, why not send her a friend request? Because all this knowledge that she has can be very useful to those women in those communities. The beautiful quotes you share about women's empowerment, the beautiful quotes you share about engaging with our kids and how we can we can bring out the best in our children. I Each time I saw that, I told myself there is somebody out there who is doing the things I love and the things I am doing. That's why I couldn't even hold myself back to send you the friend request. And immediately you reacted asking me, Christelle, do you know me? And I was like, yes, Rima, I know you because we connect on one thing, the empowerment of women and girls. That is why I sent you the request. Thank you
No,
very much. It's really a pleasure.
thank you for doing that. Like, thank you for sending me the request and connecting. And I feel like I've known you for like so long. It doesn't feel we're across the globe and that like you're a stranger and acquaintance of any sort. There's so much warmth about you, Christelle. You're so down to earth, friendly, very welcoming. I love that. I just love, and my heart and soul lies in Africa. I've lived in Africa for 5 years. I love people of Africa. I just love you guys so much.
Thank you so much, Rima. When I met you, the first time we spoke, it didn't come across like I was talking to an American or somebody who is not actually from Africa, you know. So you might not be an African, but I think Africa is born in you. Africa is in you. That is why we're able to connect this much. Thank you
So
so
true.
much. And I know that it is your love for Africa that has made you to organize this live talk. And I really do appreciate. I am not taking this for granted. And I'm sure a couple of my friends who are watching would tell us how important such a meeting is, not only for me as a person, but for my communities, for the women I represent, for the children and communities I serve.
Right. Yes, please go ahead and tell
Right.
us more
Yes,
about
please go ahead and
tell us about the NGO that you have formed and where did it start? What inspired you to? We want to hear your story and everything that you have to motivate and inspire us to.
Yeah, sometimes when I'm asked to talk about about what motivated me to start HOFNA, I get very passionate because it's like asking me what motivated me to start living. Because I think that I started living my life the day I found HOFNA, the day I found that I could reach out to communities, the day I found I could reach out to women and people and make women and girls smile a little more, a little better because they have interacted with me. I think that's when I really started living my life. Um, like I mentioned earlier, I'm the first of a family of 5, and I am a girl. And in my community, it's an open secret that most often women are groomed from an early stage for marriage. And sometimes it gets very difficult in some communities when the education of girls is not a priority. So I, like the first child and a girl in my community, I experienced a couple of acts of violence and of different forms, some of which have motivated me, some of which motivated me to create a platform where I can build the skills of young girls too, so they don't go through some of the things I went through, so they can be better off in life and face their future with their heads high up, in a way to contribute my own little effort, my own little bit of what I can contribute to humanity. Actually, HOFNA was founded in 2007. We got our official registration in 2010. And over the years, we've carried out a couple of projects which I want to talk about. First, I want to talk about the Creative Arts for Girls Empowerment Project. That's the first one of the projects we've carried out. This project was funded by the Department of State through the Alumni Engagement Innovation Fund. It was actually an award-winning project. Through the project, I engaged we engaged over 4,000 students, teachers, and parents in different communities, training them on how to respond to and prevent gender-based violence in schools and communities. And as part of that project, we brought young girls together and developed a theater performance of girls abused, that talks of the story of the struggles of a young girl whose parents want her to get married instead of going to school despite her love for education. In fact, the theater performance paints the story of what most girls go through in communities in Cameroon. Either they are being forced to get married at an early age, either they are being forced to get married to very elderly people, either they are being prevented from going to school because the communities feel that they are getting married is more important than they are going to school. And how women, most often, because they don't have a source of income, they are not into any business, they don't treat agriculture as a business, they are vulnerable in a way that they cannot even help their own children when they find themselves in that kind of a position. So our project wanted to raise awareness on those acts of gender-based violence, child early and forced marriages, and raise awareness on the importance of girls' education in communities. You can have that develop is online on YouTube, and the title is of girls abused. And we also run a project, the Making Education Realistic project. We call it the Mayor Project. The Mayor Project seeks to promote girls' education by ensuring girls stay in school, making sure they stay in school. And how do we do that? through the Making Education Realistic project, we provide scholarships for disadvantaged girls that can enable them take care of their school fees and stay in school. And through that project, we've provided textbooks, didactic materials, materials for extracurricular activities to
Wow.
about 6 schools in rural communities, serving more than 800 children. Unfortunately, we are living a present reality in our country where we have some socio-political challenges that are actually affecting the education of children, and our girls in particular have become most vulnerable. That's actually one of the reasons that motivated us to start another project, the Girls Leadership Bootcamp. And the Leadership Bootcamp, through that project, every year we bring together 100 adolescent girls. First, working with them to build a sense of community amongst themselves. We bring them, it's a residential program. The girls stay together. The essence of this is making these girls to dream big and hit hard, and know that just like any other girl, any other person, boy, wherever in the world, they can make it, they can realize the dreams if they set their minds to it. They are not limited by the fact that they are girls. And we train them on sexual and reproductive health and related issues, menstrual hygiene, and servant leadership, because I'm actually one of those people.
Right. No, this is amazing, Dan. I would like you to continue sharing. I do want to mention that people who do not know, like you're in the United States, for example, or in India, it is a developing country. It's not as bad in the area where I grew up. But those who haven't been to Africa, there are people in the United States who've never left the United States, and they haven't seen what is life like outside without having electricity, without having all the resources and infrastructure, and beyond that, being able to even imagine that there are communities and hundreds of people in the world who never get to go to school, who never get the opportunity to make a choice about how to live their life. And in Africa, in India, it's a slightly different scenario. Like even in good families like us, women are supposed to get married. The ultimate goal is the girl has to get married, produce children, be a good mother, take care of the house. And even if she's working, she still has to take care of. There's so many societal expectations, and it's very subtle, but seemingly subtle, but very strong social discrimination, gender-based stereotypes. And in Africa, like you're sharing, simple things like getting good hygiene, getting opportunities for girls to have a voice, to express a choice about not wanting, why should they be marrying older men? You know, why should their bodies be subject to submission to somebody else and be treated? So thank you for sharing on that. We would like to see those YouTube videos, and I would go ahead and share them later. I'm so interested in sharing that with my audience.
Well, thank you very much, Rima. And like you mentioned, one of the very essence of our Girls Leadership Bootcamp is to enable these girls know that most often working in teams help them to achieve more, to achieve their dreams more. So like I mentioned before, building that sense of community, enabling them to work in teams, to realize their dreams, also drilling them to identify opportunities for innovation and building their entrepreneurship skills, so that even if they don't make it through school, they can be able to engage in petty businesses that can enable them take care of themselves and be self-reliant. And with what is happening now in our region since 2016, and Cameroon has been facing some socio-political and cultural challenges, and this has actually affected education in communities. And one thing we want our girls to know is that sometimes education doesn't only start and end with being in a classroom, and they can build their skills in some income-generating activities, which is one of the things we are going to be drilling them on in the boot camp, so that they can take care of themselves, be of great use to their families and their communities, even while pursuing their education if when things get back to normal. So actually, thank you for such an opportunity. Permit me mention here that HOFNA has also run a couple of activities around peace building. We started a project in 2015 because we are one of those countries that were attacked by the Boko Haram insurgency earlier before we are coming into other issues that we are facing. And we initiated the project Enhancing Multicultural Dialogue for Peace and Security. And besides that, we ran a couple of activities to promote tolerance, especially religious tolerance in communities in Cameroon. And as part of that, we developed a theme song on religious tolerance, and then engaged over 2,000 young people in using poetry and spoken word and the unifying power of music to preach tolerance, especially religious tolerance.
And there is a lot of poverty in West Africa as well, correct? Because I was in East Africa and Tanzania, and it was a very, very poor country. Extremely, like there were children I would see walking on the streets without footwear. You know, they would have one piece of clothing that they would wear for weeks, or that's all that they had, one or two pieces of clothes. And I saw the whole country pretty much. No wonder there used to be aggression sometimes, because everybody's fighting for survival. You know, people in Africa are so good by heart. There's a lot of affection, but there's a lot of poverty. And I feel like the government is not necessarily always supporting the locals. They're still, I don't know if that's happening in Bamenda, but just tell us a little bit about like the poverty, and then what are you doing? What's the upcoming project, the leadership development? I'm very curious to hear about that.
Actually, like you mentioned, just like we have the city and we have those communities too, where we have those very vulnerable people who rely on agriculture as a means of livelihood. And sometimes with little innovation, they tend to live hand-to-mouth life. That means we actually have the land, we have the resources that could be developed for everybody to be self-reliant. But most often, what happens in those communities is that they lack the education, they lack the training, they lack the knowledge. And because sometimes I don't look at poverty just like as lack of resources. The great poverty that kills a lot of people in communities is lack of ideas. Lack of ideas. That is why programs like the Leadership Bootcamp come in to open up people's minds to the realities of how they can empower themselves with the little that they have. So any initiative that supports the Leadership Bootcamp, training of women, empowerment of children, goes a long way to help not only the women and the children trained, but their families and their communities. And true, you've lived in India. The realities in India are not very different from the realities in Bamenda and Cameroon. It's a developing country. You know, we are developing, and we keep developing. We keep trying to develop, and that's the reason why such empowering programs are very important. Because for development to really become real, people must be able to take care of themselves. They must understand the need to take care of themselves, and they must understand what it takes to take care of themselves, and they must understand how they can go about taking care of themselves. So when I was talking, sometimes just talking to people teaches them a lot, training them to teaches them a lot. But I don't deny the fact that the level of India and my country are not.
You know, given that a little bit off from here, but it's just very amusing for me that I remember several years later, I might even forget, when I grew up in a poor family. We had a home that was just granted by my grandfather. It was a big home. It was big looking, but we didn't have my father struggled a lot for several years. We were literally hand to mouth. Like I would walk 2-3 miles to save 1 rupee. 1 rupee is like 60 cents in the United States today. Way back, it was even lower than that. But I remember that I've never been in a shower. You know how you have shower bath in the United States? Everywhere you have showers. And you have air conditioning and heating. And I haven't had any of that in growing years. And people here in the United States can't even imagine that. Like, they have no concept of what is life outside. We would fill water in a bucket, and then you just use a tumbler, like, to pour water on yourself to give yourself a bath. And Africa was similar. So even just the basic availability of resources to the local public, in Africa, we would be out of electricity for 3 days, 18 hours regularly every month, no water sometimes. And you're living in that you have this little bucket or that little tank on top, and you have to live with it and I think that was an amazing life in so many ways, when you're learning to live so down to earth, right? Close to nature. But
Yes,
I was just amused. So sorry, it was a little off topic, but I can. That's why I can feel so one with Africa, because it is similar to India in many ways, even in
yes,
culturally, the belief systems we have, or the way we respect elders and etc.
yes. That's true. There are times that we go without electricity, the times we go without water,
Right.
but in the midst of all of that, we are bound to survive. We are bound to make it. So the realities are really not very different. But sometimes they say that what kills us is not actually the load, it's the way we carry it.
That's so true. That is so amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. How do we carry the load and the troubles we have? So tell me more about,
Yes.
just give me the logistics of your leadership development program. What is the population? What age groups are we working with? What activities are we doing? Because I am looking, audience, all of you who are here, thank you for joining us. I am seeking support for Christelle, her work, her organization, especially for her leadership development program, because I feel as a woman, I grew up very suppressed. I did not have a voice. I was in a very, very male dominated, even emotionally oppressive environment for years, where I had to follow the rules of the male who's the authority, and you cannot question, you cannot say no. If you're not allowed, you're not allowed. My cousins who were boys were allowed to touch my dad's computer, but because I was a girl, I wasn't allowed. And because I was a girl, I had to be
Oh,
in the kitchen cooking, even with 100 degrees fever, while I would have my exams going on. And he would say, I wish I had boys, I wish I had sons, and I wish I did not have girls. He feels differently now, but all my growing years, I heard that I'm a male, I'm superior, you're a female, you're inferior. And that's the reason why I feel so deeply for what you're doing, Christelle. I want to support HOFNA, and I want to support your leadership development program. So please tell us more about that. I'm asking for funds and donations from people, anything that you can contribute to this.
actually, when you were talking about that, I remembered an experience I had in that was in about 2005. My dad is an amazing person, but one time he wanted to give a plot of land. He had a plot of land he had to give out, and I'm the first, and my immediate follower is a boy. So my dad told what we said in a meeting, a family meeting. He told us clearly that land that way belongs to your brother. My brother was there, and I asked him. I said,
Yeah,
"Oh, you're giving my brother the land.
yeah.
He's younger than me. You've not yet given my own. So what about my own land?" And my dad told me clearly that he cannot give me land because I will soon be somebody's wife. It was a
Oh,
nice talk. It was no hard feelings though. But when I look back, I started asking myself, because it happens most often like that. We give that preference, thinking that some particular things are meant for boys, why some particular things are meant for girls. But growing up today and being a mom too of boys and girls, as I look at it, and as I tell myself that I don't want to be caught up in that kind of a situation where my girl or my boy thinks that I'm treating one other person with preference over the other person. That's why I also try to engage men as partners in the work I do to enhance that mindset transformation and make communities grow in the understanding that a child is a child, whether it's a boy or a girl. People are not limited by virtue of the fact that they are either male or female.
Right.
And the Girls Leadership Boot Camp, which I already indicated earlier, that run from the 26th of August to the 1st of September. We usually bring together 100 teenage girls, and I told you that it is particularly important now because our region is going through some sociopolitical crisis that has affected the education of children. So they have not been going to school largely, and they're at home. The rates of teenage pregnancies are on the rise. The rates, those very ills the world has been fighting against, like those acts of gender-based violence, child early and forced marriages, all of those things, and teenage pregnancies, they are on the rise in my community. I remember going to during one of my community outreach, I ran into an 11-year-old who was pregnant. That was in mid 2017. And when I asked her to take me to their home, I went her home. When I went to their home, I met her. She was just living with her grandmother. And I asked the grandmother where the mother of that child was. And she told me that the mother delivered that child out of wedlock, abandoned the child with her, and went to another city just in Cameroon. And that 11-year-old was already about 5 months pregnant. The grandmother didn't even know what to do from there with that pregnancy. And she had not even started the antenatal and everything. So that was also one of the things that motivated me to start the Girls Leadership Boot Camp, where I can bring these girls together, build that sense of community amongst them, train them on how to overcome their self-doubt, to build their self-esteem, to train them on how to understand their bodies, self-care, menstrual hygiene, and related issues, especially around preventing those unwanted or teenage pregnancies. One of the purpose is to train them on goal motivation, setting and achieving goals. It is true that if you don't know where you are going to, you might just end up anywhere. So our Girls Leadership Bootcamp wants to build a sense of commitment in the girls, and the strong sense of who they are and where they are going to. We also train them on time management and life skills generally, to make them sail through life, to be able, and then talk to them about gender-based violence, how to prevent it. And then of recent, we've had a couple of cases of rape in our communities. It's been there in the media. Rape issues have been very rampant these days with what is going on. We have a zone that is highly militarized, and a lot of things happen too, which could be prevented. So one of the topics that will be addressed during the leadership bootcamp is how adolescent girls can champion the rape culture, how they can escape it and how they can face it, and those who have been victims, how they can rebuild their self-esteem and how they can overcome self-doubt. And it's actually it's mixed with I mentioned before that I believe in leadership as service. So one of the things we train the girls in the bootcamp is servant leadership, to understand that even if whenever they find themselves in any position of leadership, it is not because they want to be served, it is because they want to serve. And I mentioned that they are not going to school. So they're largely not going to school, our target population, girls from the Northwest and Southwest region. So one thing we are training them on, we are building their entrepreneurship skills. We have a yearly course we are going to train them on, which is the fundamentals of starting and running a business. We'll have somebody train them on how to do some homemade cookies that they can also use to generate income for themselves and sustain themselves and their families. In the midst of many other things. So the bootcamp is of great importance, not only to the girls, to their communities and to the region and my country at large.
Yes, yes.
Yes,
No, that's
yes.
amazing. When is the program? And
When
please
is the program? And please
tell us that
tell
who,
us.
how long is the program? And we heard about the
It's going
activity.
to run. It's going to run from the 26th of August to the 1st of September. Uh, Last year, what happens is that I also discovered that sometimes those girls know a lot. And when they come together, it's like we inspire them to bring out the best in them. And like we all know, people most often need that push. Organizing this boot camp is that push that these girls need, probably a bridge between where they are and where they are supposed to be, a bridge to between them, between where they are and their dreams for the future. And it is true that mobilizing resources to organize a boot camp has been a challenge with
Yes,
our current reality on the ground. And I'm very, very happy, Rima, you took this upon yourself
thank
to
you.
generate this to support in your own way, volunteering your time and your skills and everything to support in mobilizing the required resources to ensure that this boot camp is a success. And I know that when you embark on something with a heart as pure as yours, it is bound to be a success. And I know that this is going to be real because you have put your hands on it. And I really appreciate. Know one thing, you're not doing it for me, you're not doing it only for HOFNA Cameroon, you're doing it for this many girls who these many girls whose skills we are struggling to build. Because most often when I look at the girls, I ask myself, I have a daughter, how would she be when she's 12? How would she be when she's 15? How would she be when she's 19? And sometimes I fear that maybe the challenges I went through, let me look for a way to prevent my daughter from going through those same challenges in life. And I'm sure that my daughter is one of the motivations that pushed me to start a program like the Girls Leadership Bootcamp. It's true, she's just about 8 now, and this program is to live on so that she and many other people of her age continue to benefit from the program. The girls who've been attending, I'm sure some of them are watching us online. Please permit me to greet some of my Cameroonian sisters and friends who are also watching us. I'm seeing a Mirabelle Ngong. Mirabelle, I greet you. She's also very passionate about girls' empowerment. She's also a Mandela Washington Fellow. I want to greet Julie Delon. She's a big sister and a pretty trader. I have other friends who are watching. Gabriel is in the US. He's my classmate. I greet you. He's watching. Thank you very much for this opportunity, Rima.
Thank you for, well, I cannot always see everybody who's online for some reason, but thank you. I want to say my namaste and thank you to Hofna and to you for allowing me to. Christelle has been very generous in trusting me. We've had just very little interaction in the last few weeks in just getting to know each other, and she is allowing me to come on board in the Leadership Development Bootcamp to train the girls online from here on time management, life skills, self-esteem. So we're doing some of that work together, and I'm so happy to be able to, like, I cannot describe since how many years I wanted to do this. And I used to do a lot of social work when I was in India and Africa. I was with Kivulini and I was with some of the organizations there, Lions International and Shan and all. But coming to the United States, I recently shared on Facebook my frustration there of not being able to just go up to somebody and share affection and share my skills. In the United States, you have to prove everything. You have to follow rules. You have to prove you have the skills. You need to have the certification. You need to show that there's a program that you've done before. And there's so many procedures. And I feel that they're so boxed in some ways. Every country has its plus and minus, but I have my frustrations with it. So Thank you for allowing me to do this for the girls. And the more I can keep supporting you, the better I will. I'm doing it for it's my need to give and to feel fulfilled. So I am very, very grateful to you. And I want to be able to raise more funds and keep supporting HOFNA as much as I can going forward.
I see one of our viewers is asking us, how do we enroll the girls? Are we permitted? Can I go ahead with the response, or can respond afterwards?
Yes, I'm not able to see. Yeah, I'm able to see some of the comments. There you go. Yes, please. Please tell us. And then I can even type.
Yeah. How do we enroll the girls? We had actually launched an application online, and we shared the link on to groups. We had copies of the application that we gave to girls out. Even on our page, the application is still there, but the application, the period ended on. We stopped receiving applications on the 15th because we have to shortlist the girls. We had many applications already. We had about 130, but we have to shortlist and get the best already. So the Sylvester, you're asking how we get the girls on our Facebook page. We have it on our website at www.hofna.org. The application is always there. We always talk about it even in churches and in meetings here in communities.
I'm sharing the website link.
And,
I think they can see
yes,
HOFNA.org. So yes, please go.
Okay. No, that's fine. I'm greeting Judy too. Judy is based in the US. She was my classmate, so she's following us live. I'm happy that most of my friends are supporting and viewing us. Thanks to Rima, Judy. It's thanks to Rima that we are meeting on this platform. I'm just telling my friend Judy that thanks to you that we have such a platform to interact and for you to get many other people to get to understand HOFNA and how they can work with you to support HOFNA and especially our Girls Leadership Bootcamp.
Right. And I wanted to mention for those of you in the United States, especially, I have a donate link on my Facebook page. But if you would like, if that's hard for you to find, you can go onto my website here and you can go onto the contact page. Please contact me to find out how you can donate to HOFNA. All the funds, 100% are going directly to HOFNA, to Christelle, and they are going to be used for the boot camp. So please get in touch with me or find me on Facebook. There is a direct donate button link on Facebook as well. So if you find it, you're just welcome to whatever you contribute. There is no amount that is small. Everything that everybody contributes, even with your blessings and wishes, matters a lot to us.
Yes. Thank you very much, Rima. Thank you so much.
I am just wondering if the audience, if there are any other questions that anybody has, please feel free to ask us questions for Christelle or for me. And Christelle, is there anything more you'd like to share about? Can you tell us some of real quickly, I know that there is 3 or 4 people coming on board, professionals to train girls besides you, of course, and your team.
Yes, there are many other. One of them is, I just saw one of them telling us this program is awesome. Feka Pachibel. Feka Pachibel is going to talk to the girls on menstrual hygiene and related issues. Feka usually trains young girls on producing reusable sanitary pads. And one of the things she will do maybe in the next edition of the boot camp is to train the girls to produce their own reusable sanitary pads. And we have a couple of practitioners coming in on the ground. We have Vuvu of the Vumomsi, as the lead visionary of a fashion brand, Vuvu. She's going to be training the girls on the fundamentals of starting and running a business. That's on entrepreneurship. We have Bay Claudia, who is going to drill the girls on baking cakes.
Wow.
And that's to train them how to start a business. And then we'll build their skills on baking cakes and on producing peanuts. Maybe after that, they are going to use it. We have an amazing lady, Komi Musa. Komi Musa is a journalist, an award-winning journalist. She's going to be training the girls on effective communication, communicating with themselves and communicating with others. and she's also going to drill them on how to championing the rape culture, how they can prevent rape. And then you, Rima, you're going to be talking to them on how building their self-esteem and setting and achieving goals and life skills. And it's a very packed program with men with a variety of professionals from different fields. It's actually a very holistic program, building their minds, building their bodies, and building their skills. So it's very heavy. We have I'll be talking to them on community organizing for action. I know that girls coming together, organizing themselves with skills, a very powerful force that can change families and communities. So I'm going to be treating them on community organizing for action. We have another Yali fellow, Berini Gotran, who will be talking to them on servant leadership, the deciding difference. And then we have Yembe of Yem's group, who is going to be talking to them on building teams, setting up a team, and
Wow.
It's team building. He's going to be team building. And then we actually will bring, we mix it with fun. We have Bila of Bamenda dance crew, who is going to have a dance session with them, exercising their minds and bodies. And we are bringing in an artist, Bobo Linox, who drill the girls to represent their dreams for the future on canvas. So that's painting. They'll be painting their dreams for the future. And that's how packed the program is. The days always get short. It's a really long program, but trust me, the days always get short because every day is as exciting as the first day. And at the end of the program, the girls don't usually want to go back. I cry with them as we try to separate, to part ways, you know.
Yeah, I mean, kudos to you for organizing all of this. That's like so much work to even bring it together and keep it going. So I do credit you for all of that, for your strength. It requires so much internal strength to be a mom and then be doing all this for the community. It's amazing what you do, Christelle. It's awesome.
And one thing I believe about motherhood is that your children or your child is not only the child you. Oh, I'm not talking about. There's one amazing, amazing facilitator who is going to be training the girls from the US. We have Jennifer Ashu, who is the founder of Miss Africa Texas. She's a very inspiring young person too. She'll be training the girls live from the US on understanding the power in you. And she's going to, last year she also spoke to the girls. She's actually one of the main organizers of the boot camp. So Jennifer, she just came online. I'm happy she took time off her busy schedule to be a part of this our program. And
wonderful.
Okay, I was about to say something. I believe that being a mother is you are not only a mother to the children you carry in your womb. So I'm not only a mother to the children I carried in my womb. When I meet those girls in those communities, some of them, when they call me mom, mommy Chris, I feel this connection to them, and I feel this huge responsibility that yes, I have a role to play in their lives, not because irrespective of the fact that I didn't carry them in my womb, also because I see a mom in me, and I see either myself when I was a child in them or my little daughter in them. So I'm a mother to many children, and the girls who come in are my children. And at the end of the boot camp, we don't just leave the girls. We try to continue to engage with them. We actually have a mentoring program There's a link to it on our website. People can decide to be a mentor to the girls. You just indicate the times you're available. So we link the girls based on their skills and their dreams and who they want to become. We link them up to the mentors so they can continue to. We have a ski program, the work with the girls and continue to build their skills and follow them up well even after the boot camp to ensure that the whatever skills they acquired during the boot camp,
Mhm.
whatever knowledge they acquired remains alive.
Right. Yes. No, wonderful. That's lot of enriching, and we can already feel the energy. I'm hoping one day. I'm really looking forward to being in Bamenda, doing that work with you. I remember the times when I was in my early 20s, and we would just go up to the slums, and that just the happiness that it gives you to just go hug those children and be with them and teaching them skills. And they value it so much because we are taking so many things in our life for granted, all that we have, and for them it's never seen, not known, a big deal. So I can already feel the energy of your program and what's upcoming. Thank you for being here and sharing all of that. Thank you, dear audience, for all of your wonderful comments and engagement. Once again, I am asking all of you, especially in the United States, please get in touch with me. There's a contact page on my website or connect directly on Facebook on the donate button. 100% of all the proceeds, everything that you contribute is going directly to Christelle, to HOFNA for the Leadership Development Bootcamp. So is there anything else you would like to tell us in winding down notes? I think we spoke about, it's not about the load, it's about how you carry the load. I love that you said that. And
Uh,
yeah, it's
and
work.
I will not forget what you said at the beginning that there are no shortcuts in life.
There are.
Rima, that's very inspiring. There are no shortcuts in life. We just have to do what we have to do.
Yeah.
And we must get to where we want to get to. There are just no shortcuts. You can't skip anything. You just have to do the things and the things that you are meant to do and the things that you're supposed to do. And I agree with you 100%.
And on that note, I would say God helps those who help themselves, right? So God sees that, and everything falls in place. When we are focused and determined to help ourselves and do good and find our ways through our challenges and trials, the whole universe steps in to support us. So big thumbs up to your work, Christelle. Once again, thank you so much. Thank you, dear audience. I look forward to continuing work, more interviews, more inspiring stories from you. Thank
Thank
you.
you very much, Rima. Thank you to the audience, the people who have taken time off to join us. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rima. God
Uh,
helps those who help themselves, and we are struggling to help ourselves. God will surely help us. He helps
yes.
us every time.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Wonderful.
much.
So have a great day, everybody. Good night in Bamenda. Great day in the United States. People watching from India, good night as well. I do know that I typically don't get to see everybody who's live. There's a lot more people that are live that I will see once I log off for some reason from this software. But we'll keep in touch and have a good night, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye, Crystal.
Bye bye. Bye bye. Permit me greet some other people I'm seeing online. I'm seeing Pro Yen. I'm seeing Manjong Adeline. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for taking time to watch. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Rima.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Have a
Thank
great day.
you. Bye.
Bye bye.